because I don't know when this will go up. We're recording this a little bit before Mirage comes out.
Yeah.
I really don't want to talk to this guy again.
I have questions.
Alright, let's just pretend that this isn't happening and talk.
Okay.
I will just basically mute it. So I guess overall, I really like this game. And when you say this is your least favorite AC game, do you mean you don't like it? Or do you just mean I still really like it, but I like all the others more?
It's that one.
Okay, so it's not that you think it's stupid.
No.
Or,
I still really like the game.
Right.
It's just the other ones I like more. But I still think the game's good.
Yeah, I think it's good too. I don't know. I don't really understand the push to dismiss any criticism of this game. Do you? What's the deal with that?
No.
I've noticed that with very specific games, but then you get to games, even the Ezio games, I don't see that. Do you?
No. Well, the thing that's weird to me is Assassin's Creed Origins is my favorite video game ever. Am I, like, standing above criticism on the game? Like, it's like, oh, I didn't really enjoy this. No! You just didn't get the game. It's like, well, no, the game, it's my favorite game ever, but that doesn't mean it's perfect.
Right.
It doesn't mean that, like, people cannot ever bring up any problems. And when they do, immediately my answer is, you didn't understand the game, or you're not good. It's like, what is these comebacks? Like, my thing is, are you really that fragile of a person that someone criticizes a game that you like, and your first thought is insulting them of like, well, you just didn't get the game, or you're just not good.
Well, this is something
like,
I
okay,
always
what?
see.
Like, who cares?
I've seen this all the way back, even with Call of Duty. I know that Call of Duty is maybe not the best example for the crowd watching this, because I don't know if they'll give a shit about Call of Duty. But Call of Duty or Halo or any of these shooters, I see this the most with them. You know what it will be? Wow, that weapon is a little overpowered. Well, you're just not good.
Right.
You're just not very good. Or, in the Soulsborne games, you know how most bosses are hard but fair?
Yeah.
Occasionally you'll come across something in the game
CSMO.
that's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not very fair, especially for first-time players. And if you have any critique of it, what people say is, well, you just need to get good. You're not good. And my problem with that whole thing is that it completely dismisses any criticism, and your whole point is, well, you must not be able to beat it. Okay, what if I did beat it? I just beat this game.
Right.
Just beat it. What if I did beat Ornstein and Smo, and I still kind of find it unfair for first-time players that you're expected to either sit in the room before Ornstein and Smo and deal with and pick off all of these giant guys in order to get Solaire in through the door, because otherwise he's going to glitch half the time. He does, and they never fixed it.
Right.
Or you're expected to summon someone, which relies on people being online on the game and the game having online functionality, which also hurts the preservation of that game, because that game is fantastic. That game, I genuinely believe, is art that deserves to be preserved.
Yeah.
You know, if I had to pick out, I'm being serious here, if I had to pick out a handful of 100 games that I would say should be preserved for the future, what actually might be an interesting list at some point of some kind, I would put Dark Souls on there.
Right.
So it bothers me when there's something in the game that stands a little bit in the way of that. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, totally.
But people act like, no, you must not have been able to beat Ornstein and Smo. No, I did beat Ornstein and Smo.
Right.
But I still find it silly that a lot of people who are first-time players will never get past that, not just because they need to get good and they suck balls, like you act like they do, people who say that, but because it's so difficult to the point where you don't have to, but you either need to be really, 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 really great at dodging, or you need to have insanely tanky stats to block, because you can do that in that game with stamina builds, which I've done. I've blocked Ornstein Smo stuff. You can. You can. I mean, it'll take out almost your entire stamina block, but you can do that. Or you need to summon. And so when people are acting like, well, no, you just don't get it, you're just not good, you are horrible, that's such a blatant, stupid way to dismiss things. You know, imagine if people did this with film. When people see film, and I know it's a different medium that you only have to analyze and watch, so you don't have to skillfully play it. But listen to how stupid this sounds. Well, yeah, maybe you didn't like that part of Passion of the Christ, but it's just because you didn't get it. It's just because you weren't good at it. What?
Right.
People would laugh at you. They'd say you're a moron for saying that. But for some reason in video games, that's okay.
Oh,
I just jumped off the side. But for some reason in video games, that's okay. It's okay to say, oh, if you have one criticism... Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Did I spill on you?
Yeah, you like kicked up your pop and then like launched upwards.
Did it get all over you?
Just my arm.
Oh, just a tiny bit?
Well, yeah, it's just...
You want a thing to wipe off?
It's okay.
Did it get on the floor?
It just comes back to the dumb criticism of like, why does skill level equal valid opinions?
I don't know.
I don't understand. Why is it like, oh, well, in order for you to have a criticism of this game, you have to be good at it? Like, how does that make sense?
Well, this is the same thing with cooking. Have you noticed that you could be the worst cook in the world, but if I put a pile of poop on a plate for you, literally, and I steamed it with broccoli, and it tasted like shit, and if you taste it, you're like, this tastes like shit, and I'm like, it is! I shit on that plate and I cooked it! And you were like, ew! It's like, you don't know how to cook? Fuck you!
Right.
People would be like, what? You know what I mean? And it's just, you could say, well, that's a ridiculous example. Okay, go to a restaurant. When your food is bad, I guarantee you'll know it. Mm-hmm. But guess what? Maybe you can't cook it.
Right.
And this is the problem, is people dismiss criticism so much with video games, especially, where they act like, well, because you couldn't develop that, you can't have an opinion. Or, well, because you couldn't beat that part, or maybe it was harder for you to beat it, but you did, you can't have an opinion. Why? Then why can you have opinions on other things that you can't do?
It's because they set up random arbitrary, like, challenge runs for them to do, and then they think that that gives them a valid reason to have an opinion.
And it's stupid. I mean, if I watch LeBron play a game and he just randomly completely just whiffs it, in the final moments, when, he could win his team the game.
Right.
When he's set up perfectly for a basket and he just absolutely drops the ball and whiffs it. I could still say, obviously I'm not LeBron James, but wow, that sucked at the end. What happened? Mm-hmm. You could say that. And I think there's a difference between being a douchebag about it and acting like, well, if I was there, I would, like those people I mean, the perfect example for it as a meme was always 9/11, which I don't think people ever meant to be offensive, but it is extremely not good to say, where it's like, well, if I was there, I would have done this.
Well, it also makes it sound like the victims of 9/11 were like pussies. Like, well, they just didn't stand up because if I was there. It's like, okay.
That's not good. But I think, there are examples where you can say that and it comes off like really bad.
Yeah.
But I also think overall it's okay to criticize something and say, hey, I don't think that was the way to go. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, certain types of criticism are allowed. Literary criticism is allowed. Criticizing stories is allowed. But once you get into criticizing gameplay, everybody and their mother who has set up 35 challenge runs for themselves that are not necessary, where it's basically like, yeah, I did the Malik challenge run. I had my friend beat my arm in with a hammer and cut it off, and then I still beat Assassin's Creed 1. Cool. No one made you do that. You chose to do that. You don't get more say over the criticisms of AC1 because you did that. Or these people who will be basically, I beat Halo on Legendary with all skulls on. That's cool. You should be happy you did that. That's awesome. But that doesn't mean somebody who beat Halo 3 on Heroic can't have criticisms of the game.
Right.
Or can't have opinions around the game. Now, maybe some of those opinions are dumb. Maybe you can, say, hey, here's why I disagree. Here's my reasoning. And I have played the game before, and here's my experience with it, blah, 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 and reason it out. That's called logical reasoning, and that's cool. That's how discussions go. But my problem is all these people who, whenever you criticize a game, especially this game, Assassin's Creed 1 that we were playing when we recorded this, especially this game, what they will do is they will act like, well, I did this in the game, so therefore you're wrong. And I encountered this the most with fighting games, by the way. Mm-hmm. The Smash Bros. Community is like this.
Oh, they're toxic.
To no end, where you'll say, wow, I feel like Palutena's move where she whips out her boobs is just a little OP because all of a sudden the Super Smash Balls in my pants just start acting up and I can't play.
You entered your final smash.
And people will be like, well, I cut those things off of me so that I wouldn't experience that during gameplay. And, you know, I've chosen the life of virginity. So because you're angry at me for what I've done with my life challenge run, that's what I call it, a life challenge run. You know, it's like a lot of these people, they're not only doing challenge runs, they're living challenged run lives. Because they can't separate fiction from reality and understand that people aren't going to have the exact same opinions as them. And then they get angry when Nate the Nobody and Jay the Nobody, who play some games together online and just have fun, say, hey, I didn't like the way that Altair swings his sword, makes it so that, you know, the combat's not quite as deep because you have to do this strike timing in order to get combos, and the counterattack doesn't always work because it's designed not to, so you get knocked on your ass. And also the hidden blade is not as useful in this game as in the other ones. And people will take that and say, well, you must not be good at the game. How can you have that criticism? I beat the whole game just by countering with the hidden blade, and, you know, while literally digging up the remains of my ancestor in real life and sitting next to them on the couch. Cool. I don't care. That's great. Good for you. But you're not impressing me.
No.
You doing that does not make it so that my criticism is not valid. That just means that you spent your time doing that. You know, I want to play... I've told you about this. I would love, and one of my dream platinums someday is Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh, jeez.
Metal Gear Solid 4 has a requirement of playing through it 7 to 8 times. I don't remember which. I think it's 8. And one of those playthroughs, you have to play the entire game without getting detected once, other than the mandatory detections. There's a couple in the game because it's a stealth game.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to never get detected other than the mandatory times. And you have to never take damage. That's stupid. That's stupid hard.
And it's on like the most difficult difficulty too.
Yes. But you know what? Even if I do that, I personally don't think that I'm the arbiter of truth around Metal Gear Solid 4.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could come through, play the game on normal, and have criticisms of the game. And you know what I would do? I would take those seriously. And I would discuss. I would say, well, Nate, what did you not like? Oh, I didn't like how the active camouflage system doesn't work on this type of terrain. Well, I beat it 8 times on the hardest difficulty on the second Tuesday of the month after murdering my whole family for the familyless challenge run where I try and see if the bank will foreclose on my home before I beat it again. It's like, no, that doesn't make you better to criticize the game than me. It just means that you have different priorities than me, where you are putting so much effort and time into this game that you're becoming elitist.
Right.
And I don't even care if people do challenge runs. Like, there's that really nice guy, I really hope he doesn't turn out to be a bad guy at some point. There's that really supposedly nice, wholesome guy who does the Millennia challenge runs on Elden Ring, where he beats Millennia not wearing any armor except the pothead thing. Okay. And he solos Millennia.
Okay.
Cool. That's great. But if we come in with a criticism of Elden Ring, I wouldn't expect that guy to say, well, I beat Millennia with just the pothead and blah, blah, blah. It's so annoying to me.
Right. And it also doesn't make sense. It just literally doesn't make sense.
No.
Like, you doing the challenge run does not give you better criticism of the game.
Well, it also doesn't...
It doesn't connect.
It doesn't make you the... So my problem is people act like, well, because I'm better at it, this is, you know, I am the only one who can have an opinion.
Right.
And that's my problem with it is that. Can you imagine if every single movie that came out, if we had audience reviews and critic reviews, right? Mm-hmm. And people took the critic reviews seriously and they didn't take the audience reviews seriously? Oh, wait, there's people who have done that forever and normal people make fun of them.
Right.
Because critical reception is not the same as what people want to see in a movie. And some of the things that critics look for, like cultural relevance of a movie, don't matter to 99% of other people, right? Mm-hmm. And we all recognize that. So when we look at movie reviews, most people now, and I don't mean just to appeal to the crowd, but this is a true thing, most people will look at these movie reviews now, and they will look at both. And they will say, okay, well, looks like the critics liked this. If they loved it, sometimes that's a good sign. If they hated it, a lot of times it doesn't mean anything because they hate a lot of things that fans enjoy, and I'm going to movies to have fun. You know?
Right.
And people recognize that, and they will watch, or they will check these reviews, and they will take both into account or listen even more to fans sometimes. But for some reason, when it comes down to fans of other things, we act like credentialism is the way to go, but your credentials are you beat a game on a harder difficulty or with a self-imposed challenge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody made you do that. I hope. Nobody put you in a basement and said you can't come out until you beat Assassin's Creed with one arm. You know how mad this makes me? There's very few things that make me as mad as as this very stupid reasoning, because people actually believe it.
Yeah.
They truly believe that because they did something in a video game that they're super special. These games are here to have fun. They're here to be a fun thing that we talk about and play to pass the time before we die. Mm-hmm. You know? It's meant to be enjoyable experience, not it's a dick measuring contest experience. And I'm so tired of that with stuff. If every single time somebody had a criticism of basketball rules, Michael Jordan came out of retirement to be like, yeah, well, I'm Michael Jordan. What do you have to say that I couldn't?
Well, yeah, I was going to say that, like, except I was going to do with hockey and Wayne Gretzky. But yeah, it's like, I don't understand it at all.
I want to let you talk for a minute, because I talked you to death.
Well, the thing is, I just don't understand it at all. I don't get it. It's because, like you said, you know, we act this way about some things, but we don't act this way about other things.
Right.
You know, and well, I was going to use the example with hockey, where it's like everyone has all these criticisms of the NHL, but it's like, you know, is Wayne Gretzky the only one allowed to have those opinions because he's the best hockey player to ever exist? So therefore, he's the only one with the opinion. Like, it doesn't make sense.
No.
It just literally does not make sense to me. And it also kind of makes you look like an unintelligent person. Mm-hmm. If someone else, like, okay, I guess unintelligent and also the word fragile. If someone else comes along and they're like, oh, I didn't really connect that much with this thing about your game. Like, this is your favorite game, right? It makes you look really fragile when you get that upset that you resort to name calling or throwing
I think it's
around
elitism.
Attacks and stuff. Like, it really makes you like fragile. Like, you're like, why are you this upset? Mm-hmm. Like, you can like this game a lot. This could be your favorite game ever. But why are you like physically upset because nameless person online didn't connect with the thing that you like? That doesn't change your life at all. Your life did not get altered in any way, shape, or form because someone you've never met before in your entire life didn't connect with a thing that you did. You can just go home and play your thing with your 27th challenge run of the day and have fun, if that's what makes you have fun. Like, it doesn't matter. It literally does not matter.
No.
And it's also, it'd be different if people had, like, actual valid criticisms. Like, if it's stuff like, not valid, dumb criticisms. You know, if it's something like, oh, I hated Assassin's Creed 1. Oh, why'd you hate Assassin's Creed 1? Altair had a bad character development. It's like, okay, that's a bad criticism. Because he had a great criticism in the game, or a great character development in the game.
Because you could walk someone through how he gets from point A to point B.
So it'd be totally one thing if it's like, oh, well, why did you not see his character development? This is why that's a bad take.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. But it's just stuff like, oh, I didn't really connect that much with the combat because it's a little clunky. Well, I am very good at the combat, and you're wrong. It's like, okay, cool. I'm glad you're good at the combat.
Yeah, what do you want here?
Like, I'm not.
Do you want an award?
Like, cool. Like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Your skill level at something should not determine your ability to criticize the thing.
Right.
Those two things do not connect with each other.
I think it can add to it.
It can add to it.
So I think if you're, the cooking example is always a good one. If you have Gordon Ramsay in a room, he's going to know more about spices than me.
Sure, yeah.
And he's going to have some more, takes on that than I will that are probably smarter.
But if you said, I don't really like cooking that much, is someone going to be like, oh, well, Gordon Ramsay's great at cooking and he says it's fun, so you're wrong.
Right, or if Gordon Ramsay and I are both handed a plate of shit and it tastes like shit,
right,
and it's all burnt, I'm telling you, neither of us is probably going to like it.
Right.
But is his criticism more valid than mine because we both ate shit? Right. No, we just both ate shit. Right. It tastes like shit. What do you want? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's levels to this too. I understand if a game developer wanted to criticize how this game was made, they might have some more technical terms that they can use than I can.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of arguments I can make too, even without some of those technical terms, and with some of them that I personally know as well, that hold water and do have weight. And they don't just not have weight just because I'm not a game developer. That doesn't make any sense. It also narrows your mind and perception with art, because the whole thing with art is that it's supposed to be a basic human experience. What's going on, by the way, over here with this club?
I don't know, but I want to join.
I feel like people like this were not allowed openly in the past. But I don't understand that, because if I say, hey, I really didn't enjoy Marvel's Avengers 1, and someone says why, and I hit them with a criticism of, well, I thought that Captain America's suit was too blue. Okay, fine. Now we know that that's a dumb criticism.
Right.
We can obviously say something about that and say that's stupid. But if I say, I thought the plot structure was not as good as it could have been, it was trying very hard to balance a lot of characters, and it was one of the first movies to try and do so, to build all these movies on top of each other that were loosely connected. And, I go into this whole thing about it,
mm-hmm.
and I prove a point. You can't just say, well, Joss Whedon made the movie, and he said it's good.
Right.
Yeah?
That wouldn't make much sense at all.
And? What's your point? What are you trying to say here? And I guarantee you, everybody who does this kind of stuff, they have their own thing that they criticize. And it's always different when it's them. Have you noticed this?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's always different when it's them doing it. The people, the get good crowd, always different when they're the ones to criticize something. All of a sudden it's, well, now here's why my opinion matters. Okay? Well, how come, 5 minutes ago, nobody else's opinion, mattered on this thing except yours? And now, when it comes down to it and you have a criticism of something else, your opinion matters.
It's because they're fragile and narrow-minded, and
because it's you.
And yeah, and
your standards are different for being you.
They put a lot of self-identity into the things they like, so when someone criticizes it, it's really upsetting to them, and they cannot handle it.
Right, because we've talked about this before, it's brand loyalty, and it's a criticism of you because your personality is caught up in the brand.
Yep.
So you'll see this with Xbox or PlayStation fanboys or Nintendo fanboys. You'll say, hey, I really wish they put a better processor in the new Nintendo 5000 system that I just made up.
Right.
Oh, well, you must be a hater. No, I just wish that they had done a better processor because I'm going to have to pay $300 for this thing.
Right.
That's it. That's all it is. Or, oh man, I really wish that Assassin's Creed Origins had the same climbing as Unity and everything else was the same. Why? Well, here's the reasons I like Unity. You're just a hater. You're just not good. No, maybe I just prefer something.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's also okay to just like something more. There's things that we like that aren't good. You and I both like some of the Michael Bay Transformers movies.
I was going to say, we're going back to Transformers.
We don't have a lot of logical reasons as to why we like them.
They're just fun.
I could list out some things that I think are actually fun and about them that people shouldn't hate on as much. But at the end of the day, I find them fun.
Right.
And that's okay too. You
sound like Tucker Carlson.
And that's okay too. I don't know why all these liberals are against fun. I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just makes me mad.
It's just stupid. It's a dumb deflection of not having a thought at all to your favorite thing in the world. It's you're just deflecting the point. You can just come out and say, I really like this thing, and I have nothing to clap back at what you are saying about it.
Right. You can also, you know what
So you resort to name calling is basically what you do.
You know what I prefer over that? And I'm being serious. I prefer over this the narcissistic take of I don't even give a shit about your opinion.
Yeah,
I like
definitely.
the thing. I like it. I don't care who you are. I like it. I even prefer that. Now,
Because at least we know what your take is.
right, and now is that a good reasoning? No. But I'm going to be honest with you. Blade Runner, the final cut, Blade Runner, is probably my favorite movie ever. Guess what? If you came out and said, I don't like it, I could have a conversation with you, but I highly doubt that would change it so I don't like it.
Right.
That probably wouldn't really move my opinion at all. Unless you made the best point ever that I just randomly missed. I don't think that would change my enjoyment of the movie. It would just be, oh, okay, well, I wish you liked it more. And that's it. And so I almost respect more the people who just say, you know what? Maybe you don't like Ornstein and Smo, but it's the only thing that gets me off. And I don't care that you don't like it because to me it's God. Fine. Good for you. Great. Enjoy your little thing. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It doesn't. It's not that deep. It doesn't matter that much. The whole point of criticism and discussion is meant to be discussion, right? It's meant to be, here's my thoughts, here's your thoughts. Can we in some way not change what each other think completely, but can we maybe have our mind open to new takes and new experiences and new interpretations? And maybe, even though I hate Shakespeare, this actually happened to me. I don't like Shakespeare's plays. I don't find them that interesting. I could tell you all the ways literarily that they are great. Mm-hmm. I could tell you the ways that Shakespeare, some of the ways, because he's done a lot, helped reinvent language, creating words and changing context of things. I have a degree in literature and teaching literature and English. I could tell you all those things, but I don't enjoy Shakespeare's work. It's not for me. Mm-hmm. That's the other problem I have with this too, is it also lacks the ability to separate enjoy from good or bad. They are different. You know, you can enjoy things and also think parts of them are bad. You can dislike things and recognize good parts of them. Or you can have the opinion that some of the good parts people talk about are not as good as they act like and justify it. And at the end of the day, that's supposed to be the whole point is, hey Nate, here's my thoughts. What do you think about this? Oh, here's my thoughts. Let's talk about it. What is there any kind of common ground here? What do we reach? What do we not reach? Has our thinking changed at all? Did we make good points? No, we didn't. Yes, we did. Cool. Good. That's it. You know, it's like you're getting to a point where you can have this intelligent discussion back and forth, and that intelligent discussion is supposed to add to the thing, not devolve into this weird name-calling, angry, elitism thing where it becomes a measuring contest. It becomes here. That is my main problem with the Get Good crowd. I just want to say that. It becomes, here's why I'm better than you. And you know what? If we really want to go there, we want to go to insults and all this stuff, why are you defining your worth by how good you are at a game? Why are we defining your worth at how long you sat in front of a TV alone in your room? That's not a good way to define your worth. I could just as easily make fun of you for that shit as you could try and act like it makes you important. I could just as easily sit down and tear you down for 30 minutes about how I was out making out with women and, you know, getting money or what, I don't know, whatever, as you can act like it makes you some great hero. It's stupid, and it's all about your priorities. And at the end of the day, I genuinely don't have a problem with people who do challenge runs and who play the same game for 300 hours and really want to get good at it. That's great. That's awesome. Good for you. But don't act like it makes you better than me. Because I could just as easily sit here and insult you over it as people insult us or insult other people over our opinions on video games. They are games. And you're sitting here acting like your devotion to turning the game into a full-time job makes you a better human being than me and more capable to criticize the sword flow combat of AC1. It doesn't. It doesn't. And the idea that it does is laughable. Because at the end of the day, anyone can do that. It just becomes a superiority, like a self-importance contest of, of that, you know, and you can always have somebody come in and say, yeah, well, I'm the CEO of Apple. What you're doing is not important. Look at what I did. Oh, yeah, well, I'm Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I work out for 3 hours a day. Look how buff I am. Look how great I am. And it just becomes it would become a narcissism thing where it's just, look how good I am. And that's my problem with it is, at the end of the day, these people, it's not even to them about the game. Not really. It's about a measuring contest of showing how important they are. And it's usually because people don't feel important in another area in their life.
Right.
So they say, well, the reason you don't like my video game is because you're stupid. Look how great I am. Right. And I don't care how great you are. You should not be defining yourself by how good or bad you are at some game. That's stupid. That's silly. You know?
Yeah.
And I say this for anything. If you are a player in the NBA and you get to the end of your life and the only thing of importance you did was play in the NBA and make money, cool. But I would hope that you had more meaningful things to talk about than that. Like, here's why this mattered to me. Here's the community outreach I did. Here's a fan I met one time and how it changed my life. You know what I'm saying? You should have all this stuff.
Here's my kids.
Yeah, here's my kids that I leave behind.
Right.
It's not just, yeah, I had a really high shooting percentage.
I bounced a ball on the ground.
Because
well.
we can do this to anything. We can trivialize or add to the importance of anything. You know, that's what the get good crowd does. The you're just bad at the game or you just didn't get it. That crowd, what they're doing is trivializing people and experiences that they disagree with while self-aggrandizing experiences that they have had. And whenever people do it in real life, we laugh at them. When celebrities do this, when they say, well, I'm a celebrity, I'm rich, we laugh at them. We say, yeah, sure, you're rich, but that's a really bad attitude and you sound like a dick. Mm-hmm. We make fun of them for that because we don't like people who are like that. But for some reason in gaming, people get a pass for acting that way. And I really don't understand it. Because at the end of the day, you could be the best Twitch speedrunner of all time of Assassin's Creed Liberation, but I could play Liberation, not enjoy it, and make some good points.
Right.
And I don't think that just means your opinion matters and mine doesn't. I have a headache. It makes
Right,
me so pissed off because it is the most self-important thing of look at me stroke my ego and how important I am. And I hate people who do that. There's not many people I hate. I genuinely have a strong disdain for people who say, look how important I am. Because I see this all the time with YouTubers, I see it with gamers, I see it with all this stuff, and it's so fucking stupid. Oh, I have 10 million subscribers, look how much more important I am than you. No, there could be some nameless account, Anonymous 3255 comes in with 0 subscribers, and he could make a really damn good point about something that you liked.
Right.
It doesn't matter that he doesn't have a following, he could still make a good point. That's okay. People are not more important than other people. You know what I mean? I'm so sick of this, especially in Western society. It's such a thing in America of, here's my credentials, look how much more important I am than you. Can you imagine if some historian with double your degree came in and said, actually, Lincoln was the worst president ever, here's why, and you knew he was wrong and you said so, and he said, well, I have an extra degree, so fuck you. You'd say, what? What are you talking about? That doesn't mean it. That doesn't mean that you're just right automatically because you have a credential.
Well, people do this all the time with celebrities too. Like George Takei is like a god to liberals. Just an example. Where it'd be like, oh, well, George Takei has said this thing about Donald Trump. And then every liberal's like, wow, look at him. He was in Star Trek.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay. So why is, like, his opinion, like, the greatest thing of all time?
Right, why is it smarter than mine?
It's like, okay, or it'd be like, oh, Stephen King just said I hate Donald Trump. Oh, okay, wow, whoa. Everyone take a step back, because Stephen King said this.
And I see the same thing, too, with, or for politics, with people, the guy who played Hercules, I always forget his name.
The live action, or the...
Yeah, not The Rock. The guy who played the Hercules show. And a bunch of conservative people always rally behind him. And they say, well, he's,
How come I don't know this?
Yeah, I don't know. But he's like a big conservative celebrity.
I'll have to look this up because I'm a huge conservative.
Yeah,
wow.
We know. We all know.
Whoa.
We can tell. But, you know, he'll have an opinion and people will be like, well, he said this. And it's like, cool, maybe he's right, maybe he's not. But I don't think the fact that he played Hercules makes him
Well,
right.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, he could have a great opinion. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And you could look at it and go, wow, that's a good point. Or he could just have an opinion. And you'd go, oh, okay, well, that's an interesting opinion. And then you move on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I guess I don't understand the mindset of any of this. Everything you talked about in games, and also when people listen to celebrities for political opinions, and they act like just because they're a celebrity, they must, like, know everything about politics. And it's like, I don't get the take at all. No. I don't understand. I just genuinely do not understand it. I think if someone's good at something, cool. Like, that's cool. Like, you can recognize, you know, I don't know, you can recognize, like, okay, I'll use Wayne Gretzky, and you can recognize him and be like, wow, he was a great NHL player. I really like watching him play. That was really fun. Yeah, he's my favorite player of all time. That's great. But if Wayne Gretzky was like, man, I'm not really feeling Ron DeSantis for president in 2024, am I really going to be like, huh, well, we have to listen to this guy because he's good at hockey?
Right.
It's like, well, no, like, that's not what it works. Like, he can have that opinion, but it's not like his opinion is better than anyone else's opinion. But it's just an opinion.
Even if you take something that is 100% in his, you know, expertise.
Yeah.
And he says, you know, I really don't like how, I don't know, I'm just trying to think here. The Penguins, I really don't like how they pass the puck around in this manner. But it's winning games, you know, and it's being effective. You could say, okay, well, Wayne, why do you not like it? Oh, well, here's why. Okay, cool. That makes sense. But I do. And here's why. And you could say so, and you could have never played a day of hockey in your life. You could have just watched it.
Right.
And you can still have an opinion on it. Now, does everyone have to say, you're better than Wayne Gretzky? No, obviously Wayne Gretzky's played the game. Right. He obviously knows what he's talking about, too. But what if he just has a bad opinion? Or what if his opinion just isn't really grounded in the reality of the game now? I've seen that too with a lot of basketball players. They'll have a lot of opinions on new basketball players, and sometimes they're valid. But sometimes they are, you know, when I played the game and the rules were entirely different. Right. And it's, yes, I understand and I respect that. And you know what? Honestly, in a lot of ways, I preferred the time when you played the game. In a lot of ways, I look at the NBA and I preferred a lot of the rules back in the day. You know? But at the same time, you know, like the Pistons. Now, I'm not saying this is good, but the Pistons could roll in, break someone's nose, and the game would keep going. Nowadays, somebody barely gets nicked with, like, the side of the basketball, and they're down getting rolled out by EMTs.
Very nice Knicks reference.
No,
yeah.
It wasn't meant to be, but yeah. You know, and there's things I will 100% say, okay, well, I find that dumb with modern rules. But I always see old players say, you know, this is why this guy sucks, and he wouldn't have made it in my time. Okay, I get it, and maybe you're right. But also, just because you had your time doesn't mean that this guy is not, you know, good at the game, or doesn't mean that this guy can't have his opinions on how it's played too. You know, again, if Michael Jordan rolled out of a retirement, and this is something I really respect about Jordan, he doesn't do this. Thank God. If Michael Jordan rolled out of retirement every time there was a new presidential election, or every time even there was a new GM of a team,
right,
and he rolled out with his, you know, his 2 cents to throw in, at some point you'd be like, dude, just stop. Like, not you're irrelevant, but, like, you're being annoying. And I think that people do this all the time with everything, especially gaming, is they are normal people, and then they come out of the woodwork to define their entire personality and tear down your entire life based around how you played or perceived a video game. And I really don't like people who do that. I really don't like them. Because at the end of the day, to me, it comes off the opposite. I see it and I think, well, you're trying so hard to be important, you must have some kind of inadequacy. Right. You must have some kind of problem where you don't feel like you are important. Otherwise, why would you need so badly to be important? You know? So it's like, it's not doing what you think it is. I understand that maybe that's a little judgmental of me, but my point is, if you're going to come in and judge me, you can bet that I probably will have some thoughts back. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's not going to end the way you think it is, where I bow down and say, oh my gosh, this guy beat Halo with only the melee ability.
Using his, like, testicles as the buttons.
Here, take the deed to my house.
Right.
No, I'm just going to say, okay, well, there must be a reason why you are acting the way you are and being such a massive douchebag. You know, what's wrong with you? And it'll just make me not like you and not listen to you. At the end of the day, too, that's the other thing is, yeah, sure, maybe this is ad hominem a little bit and appealing to the credibility of the speaker or whatever. But I'm not going to listen to people who are just assholes.
Right.
I'm not going to. Even if they're right, I'm not going to listen.
Well, yeah.
Because you're being a fucking asshole. I'm not going to listen to you.
And that, yeah, I think that statement can apply to pretty much everyone on the internet. Like, everyone enters any situation angry all the time, and they act like a complete dick right away, and it's like, well, no one cares now.
Right.
Like, literally no one cares.
You can make the best point ever.
Yes, but you're being a dick about it.
Yeah.
And therefore the other person now immediately is getting angry because you're a dick to them randomly. And instead of just making a point and talking about it like a normal person, you have to insult them. You have to be angry to them. You have to, like, make some, like, weird, you know, dick measuring point of, like, well, I'm better than you, and look at what... And it's like, well, this... Yeah, like you said, it's like, this isn't what you... This is not doing what you think it is.
No, it's pushing people away from your
It makes
point.
everyone think that you are just a dick. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Like, that's their immediate thought is just, well, this person's a dick. That's it. Like,
Right.
They're not sitting there like, oh my gosh, wow.
You're right.
Like, they're just like, wow, this person's a douchebag.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't get the point. And also the other, and I guess I don't really have a lot else to say about this. But
Sorry, because I did certainly go off on
well,
it.
it's a good point. But the other thing I wanted to say is, we already touched on this a little bit, but I want to add to this. Like we already talked about a little bit, video games are supposed to just be fun. Mm-hmm. Like, we're supposed to turn on Assassin's Creed, and even if it's not our favorite thing of all time, it's just supposed to be fun. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. Yeah, I get there's a story. Yes, I get these people can be inspiring to you. Yes, I get all these things. But at the end of the day, it's a game. Like, it's supposed to be fun.
Yep.
So therefore, if the game was fun to you, and let's say it was not fun to someone else, it should not matter at all. Because guess what? The game was fun to you. Mm-hmm. And that other person that did not get into the game like you did, they probably have things that they like too. And that's okay. Like, that is perfectly fine. Like, let's say, like, I hated Fallout New Vegas. Like, it was just, I hated, let's just say I hated this game.
No.
I know, like, you're really upset
It's
here.
one of my favorite games ever. You can't hate it.
Right.
Now I hate you. Here's why I beat it 32 times while getting... You know, I'm not... oh, man. You know... Oh, jeez. I'm allergic to peanut butter, and I ate 32 tubs of it while playing and taking EpiPens. And I still won, and that's why my opinion is better than yours.
Right.
And
like,
also,
it doesn't make sense.
Also, I'm gay, and I actively chose to sleep with a woman during playing it so that I would psychologically harm myself and be in a worse state of mind in order to beat the game. And also, I am a hardcore Republican, and I went and voted Democrat on every election for a year during my challenge runs, just so that I would have a feeling of what is happening to my country. And also, I played with only the 10mm pistol, by the way, too, and I didn't use any ammo. So anyway, here's why you're dumb for not liking the game. Yeah?
Like, okay. You sound delusional now.
I actively went to, hunted down the developers of every game I played, stored them all in my basement at gunpoint, made them all develop new games, and I beat those games. So here's why you can't like that game. Yeah?
Okay. It's just a dumb point. It's like, it doesn't make sense. It does not make any sense to me. it's such a dumb thing to have a dick measuring contest about. It's a video game.
Yeah.
Like, just play the game.
Right.
You will like things that you like. Other people will like things that they like. They don't have to be the exact same thing. Just have fun. Like, I wish we had a time where it's like, oh, hey, I really like Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I didn't really like it that much. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna go home and play Assassin's Creed and have fun. That's interesting. You're gonna go home and play Uno on Xbox Game Pass, and that's your favorite thing ever. And you're gonna have fun.
Right.
There we go. The end of discussion. Like, who cares?
And I don't even think it needs to be the end of the discussion. I think you can still talk about it.
Well, sure, yeah.
But I don't like the where it goes, because it almost always goes to, here's why you're stupid.
Yeah. It's like,
I also understand if there is a tone that matters with these discussions.
Yeah.
So if I come into the tone acting like I'm smarter than everyone, if I come in and I say, well, everyone loves Assassin's Creed 1, here's why they are all wrong, it sucks balls, everything about it is bad, if you like it, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, if I come in with that attitude, then if someone claps back with, well, I beat the game doing this, and it sounds to me like you don't know what you're talking about, all of a sudden that person sounds better because I came in with a elitist attitude myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the attitude you bring to the table in the first place, I think, matters. I think that highly contributes to the conversation, because I think who is the aggressor first does matter to this. Mm-hmm. Because if I come in and I'm acting more intelligent than you, and then I end the video and say, and I have 100,000 subs, so anything you say is stupid. Okay, well, I've come in with this self-aggrandizing attitude, and I shouldn't expect other people to not show up with that too. And I think that, now, does that justify, like, does that make them right? No. But it just means that I created that environment, you know, of being a dick. And now other people are going to come in and be a dick, too. And it's the same thing. I see that a lot, too. People will unknowingly establish the ground rules for the discussion by being a jerk.
yeah.
And then they will...
Sorry, I saw this.
And then they will basically be surprised when other people show up and are a jerk. Where's the remote?
It's up there.
Oh, we should make sure that this.
We should probably wrap up our points.
No, I wanna continue complaining.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, I'm done. Sorry.
Well, okay. I guess in a final closing thought, after like 25 minutes, I guess in a final closing thought, I still like the game. I think it was just my least favorite Assassin's Creed game. That's all I guess that's all I had to say.
And in a final closing thought from me, I think the reason is because you're bad, you suck, you're
I'm horrible.
stupid, your parents wish you were never born, everyone hates you.
You should have a 27-year post-birth abortion.
I played the game while constructing a rope out of car tires, and it was set up to automatically hang me if I didn't beat the game within a certain amount of time, and I did beat it. So
You had the blades from Yu-Gi-Oh! To cut off your legs, too.
I had the Jigsaw Bear Trap on my head challenge run, and if I didn't beat the game within 20 hours, it would go off. Yeah, no. I don't know. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, we hope you enjoyed the Let's Play. I guess. Goodbye. Jeez. I don't know. It just made me mad, man. Just made me really mad.
All right. I'm going to turn this off.